Your body keeps a score, a silent memory of every storm you've weathered. Sometimes it reacts before your mind even catches up. You might call it a bad habit, a personality quirk, or just the way you are. But what if it's something more? What if it's a survival program, installed long ago, still running in the background of your life? These aren't your choices, they are echoes. Today we're going to decode these programs. We are talking about the 4 core trauma responses. Understanding them isn't about dwelling on the past. It's about reclaiming your present and finally understanding why you do the things you do. Let's begin. Number 1, the fight response. The fight response is the most primal, the most aggressive of our survival instincts. When faced with a threat, the brain floods the body with adrenaline and cortisol, preparing it to stand its ground and confront the danger head-on. In the wild, this is the cornered animal lashing out. But in our modern lives, the threat is rarely a tiger in the grass. It's a critical boss, a conflict with a partner, or a memory triggered by a song on the radio. The fight response doesn't disappear. It just changes its clothes. It shows up as a constant need to be in control. The person stuck in a fight response believes that if they can manage every detail, every person, and every outcome, they can prevent harm from ever reaching them again. This can look like being a micromanager at work or in the home. It's not about being a good leader. It's about a desperate need to dictate the environment to feel safe. This response can also manifest as anger that seems to come out of nowhere. A small inconvenience, like someone cutting you off in traffic, can trigger a rage that is completely out of proportion. That anger isn't really about the traffic. It's stored up survival energy that has found a convenient target. It's a volcano that's been waiting to erupt. People living in this state are often seen as bullies or narcissists. They might be overly critical of others, finding fault in everything as a way to maintain a sense of superiority and, therefore, safety. They win arguments not to be right, but to survive. Losing an argument feels like a life or death threat to their nervous system. The core belief of the fighter is a tragic one. The world is a dangerous place, and I must be more dangerous to survive in it. They build walls of aggression, not to keep others out, but to keep their own vulnerability locked safely inside. The cost of this armor is immense. It creates a life of conflict and pushes away the very connection and safety they are trying to create. It is a lonely, exhausting way to live, always on high alert, always ready for a battle that lives more in their past than in their present. Number 2, the flight response. The second response is flight. The instinct here is simple. If you can't fight the danger, run from it. Flee to safety. In our modern world, this has evolved from a physical sprint into a state of constant, restless motion. A person operating from a flight response is often the picture of a successful, busy person. They are the workaholics, the perfectionists, the overachievers. Their calendars are packed, their to-do lists are endless, and they never, ever stop. Because to stop, to be still, is to let the feelings catch up, and that is the threat they are running from. Perfectionism is a classic flight symptom. It's not about having high standards. It's about an obsessive need to be flawless. The thinking is, if I am perfect, no one can criticize me. If no one can criticize me, no one can hurt me. They are running from the threat of judgment and failure. Workaholism is another mask for the flight response. By pouring all of their energy into their job, they can avoid the messiness of their inner world. Success becomes a shield. They are so busy climbing the ladder that they don't have to look down at what they're climbing away from. This response also shows up in relationships. It's the person who leaves a good relationship at the first sign of real intimacy or conflict. Getting too close feels like a trap, so they run. They might also run through constant distraction, endless scrolling on their phone, obsessive hobbies, or substance use. Anything to keep the mind occupied so it doesn't have to be with itself. The quiet whisper driving the runner is this: if I keep moving, the past can't catch me. They live life like a race against a shadow, but you can't outrun your own nervous system. The result is a constant, low-grade anxiety and a feeling of being perpetually on the edge of burnout. They are present for everything, but truly there for nothing. They exist in a state of chronic distraction, unable to find the peace that comes from simply being still. Number 3, the freeze response. This might be the most misunderstood of the 4 responses. When a threat is so overwhelming that you can neither fight it nor flee from it, the nervous system chooses a third option. It shuts down. This is the freeze response. Think of an animal playing dead. The body becomes immobile, the mind detaches. In humans, this doesn't always look like being physically frozen in place. It's more subtle. It's the feeling of being stuck. It's procrastination that paralyzes you from doing even the simplest tasks. You know you should do the laundry, but you physically cannot make yourself get up. It's not laziness. It's your nervous system hitting the emergency brake. Dissociation is the hallmark of the freeze response. This is the experience of zoning out, feeling like you're not really in your body, or watching your life as if it were a movie. It's a mental escape when a physical one isn't possible. People who experience this might have huge gaps in their memory or feel a constant sense of brain fog. They feel disconnected from their own emotions, their own bodies, and the world around them. The freeze response can also look like chronic indecisiveness. Choosing what to have for dinner can feel as monumental as a life-altering decision because every choice feels fraught with potential danger. It's easier to make no choice at all. This leads to a life of passivity, where you feel like a passenger in your own existence. People stuck in freeze often isolate themselves. Social interaction feels overwhelming. It's easier and feels safer to stay home, to be alone, to become as small and invisible as possible. The guiding principle of the freeze response is a heartbreaking one. If I don't move, if I can't be seen, the danger will pass me by. The cost of this response is a life unlived. It's a state of suspended animation where opportunities are missed, relationships wither, and your own potential remains locked away. It's the quietest response, but its silence is filled with the weight of everything you wish you could do, but simply can't. Number 4, the Thorn Response. The last response, fawning, is often the most complex. It develops when a person learns that the safest way to handle a threat is to appease it. Instead of fighting or running, you try to please the source of danger to neutralize it. This is most common in situations where the threat is a caregiver or someone you depend on, where fight or flight would be impossible or make things worse. In adulthood, fawning manifests as extreme people-pleasing. This isn't just being nice. This is a compulsive need to make everyone around you happy, often at your own expense. A person with a fawn response has a very hard time saying no. They have weak or non-existent boundaries because they learn that their safety and worth are dependent on serving the needs of others. They become emotional chameleons, changing their opinions, interests, and even their personalities to match whoever they are with. They are excellent listeners, not just because they are empathetic, but because they are scanning you, trying to figure out what you want and need so they can give it to you. This is a survival skill, not a personality trait. People with a strong fawn response often take on the emotional burdens of others. They feel responsible for making everyone feel better. If someone around them is angry or upset, they feel an immediate, anxious need to fix it. Even if they had nothing to do with the situation, their own feelings get pushed down and ignored because their system has taught them that their feelings are not as important as the feelings of the person who could be a threat. The deep, unconscious thought of the fawner is this: if I can make you happy, you won't hurt me. My value comes from my usefulness to you. They search for safety, not in themselves, but in the approval of others. The tragedy of the fawn response is the slow erosion of the self. Over time, they can lose touch with who they actually are. They don't know what they like, what they want, or what they believe in. Their life becomes a reflection of the needs of others, and this eventually leads to deep resentment and a feeling of being completely empty. They give everything away until there is nothing left of themselves. These trauma responses are not your personality. They are your armor. Armor that was built for a war that, for many of us, is already over. This armor kept you safe when you needed it, but now it may be too heavy to carry. It might be keeping you from living, from connecting, from being truly you. Understanding which response your body defaults to is the first, most powerful step toward change. It's not about blaming yourself for reacting in a certain way. It's about having compassion for the part of you that learned to survive in the only way it knew how. The goal isn't to erase these responses. They are part of our human toolkit. The goal is to bring them out of the driver's seat, to move from unconscious reaction to conscious response, to have a choice. And the first step is always awareness. Knowing the map of your own nervous system is the key to finally finding your way home to yourself. If this conversation brought some clarity to your own life, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. It helps us reach more people who might need to hear this message. And now, for the comments. As you listened, did one of these responses resonate with you more than the others? You don't need to share any stories, but simply naming it can be a powerful act. Let me know in the comments which one you recognized, whether in yourself or just in the world around you. Thank you for being here and for taking this time for yourself. Be well.